Hi folks, this is the new kit from X Plus models, and as you can see it's the Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurus Rex chasing, if you can see on the box there, Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum, and it's in 1/35th scale. I got this from Hobby Link Japan, but I think it's generally available in most places now. I was actually quite surprised because I did think the box was going to be bigger. I think the kit builds up obviously bigger than the box, but from the pictures I'd seen, it did appear a little bit bigger on screen. But you know, we'll see how it goes together. So it's in a nice, strong, heavy box. Not much information other than the pictures on the front. The sides are basically the same picture all the way around. There's no other information on the box, but this photo is quite a good illustration as how it should be painted. I've already had it open, just taking all the plastic bags off the parts, but I'll go through the parts now and take a look at it. Instruction sheet, very similar to the other ones I've seen from X Plus, like the Metropolis robot, and the sort of similar to Mobius and the old Aurora style instructions. What is interesting about this kit, and they did it with the Metropolis robot as well, is that you build a sort of a kind of sub body which all the other parts then attach to. And from what I've seen of the seams on this, each part covers the next seam, so there's very, very little seam work at all. You do get a diorama base of the roadway with the track from the car. You get the Ian Malcolm figure, which looks to be in 3 parts, and you also get the electric fence and wire to make up the fence, and there's a nice nameplate as well. You also get another base as well with a big footprint on it if you just want to show the Tyrannosaurus on its own, but quite why anyone would build it without the base, I've no idea. And then there's some information on painting on the back. There's quite a good guide there to painting the eye, the sequence of painting the eye that they recommend. And there's also a couple of new kits coming up. There's a couple of Velociraptors which look to be from one of the later films, I think. I can't remember which one. And there's also the Spinosaurus as well. I'm assuming these aren't all the same scale as the Tyrannosaurus. So the varying scales. But I notice on the Spinosaurus there's a nice building and sort of like a diorama with a tower on it. So again in the sort of classic Aurora style. So that's the instructions. The parts themselves are molded in it's like an olive drab color plastic, and I noticed as well that because of the way the seams work on this and each part covers the other seams up, if you can see that there, let me just get this in focus a bit better, maybe not. The actual sprue attachment points are undergated, so they're actually sitting on the surface of the joint, so it shouldn't leave any gaps when you cut the parts away and shave those off. So there's lots of parts like this, with obviously sort of the skin pattern, sort of scaly appearance to it. So it's difficult to figure out. I'm assuming these are tail parts, these. There's the nice nameplate, which is on a piece of stone, and then it's got the logo, which obviously this is all recessed, so you can drop in individual colors, so you get that sort of red and black logo. There's a small pack of wire in here. Now this, to me, there is instructions to say that it's lead based. It contains lead, and you should wash your hands after handling the wire. So I'm assuming it's just some kind of solder. I suppose you could replace it with another type of wire, maybe brass wire. I'm thinking I might do that anyway, simply because although this will drape quite nicely as a sort of, as you'd expect those cables to when they're cut, I think it's more likely to move about a bit. If you put it on display and somebody catches the wire, it's going to move the wire again. So I'm wondering whether I might use I've got some similar gauge brass wire, and I'll actually just bend it to shape, and that will hold its shape then. And also you haven't got this issue of the fact that this contains lead. So I may not use this, but there you go. So this part here, again, some claws, feet parts. This is part of the fence with those insulators on for the wires to pass through. You notice there's some of the warning lights at the top here. Now it would be possible, it's a shame these weren't molded in clear styrene actually, but it would be possible to replace those with lights if you wanted to light it. I'm a kind of believer of, I don't really like flashing lights on models where the rest of the model is stationary, because I think it gives a false effect. You know, the lights wouldn't flash if the figures were stationary, so I like to look at it as a sort of still from the film rather than an action scene, if you like. So I won't be lighting them. I'll just paint those to make them look like they're lit. More feet parts, two more fence parts, and also there's the Ian Malcolm figure. As I say, it's 1/35th scale. I don't know whether we can see the head there. Let me see if I can get it into focus a bit better. I think I need to adjust this camera actually, because it's not focusing very well. That is quite a good representation, or a good likeness of Jeff Goldblum. He's wearing shades, so you know, you haven't got any problem. If you're not very good at figures, you haven't got to paint the eyes. So that's quite good news. Some larger components here, the thighs and the leg. This is the sub body that the other parts attached to, so you don't see any of this once it's together. This is really just like a sort of almost like an armature to hold the other parts. And we've got that's the other small base that I mentioned that's got the footprint on. So if you wanted to display the Tyrannosaurus on its own, you can use that. More tail parts, and these are teeth, and that's the tongue, I think. There, they're going to be in a sort of pink shade with the teeth in a sort of off-white colour. This is the two-part head. Now you notice this has got pins here and sockets here, and there's a seam running along here, but when you push that together, that seam pretty much disappears, because there's I suppose like what would you call that, like a vein or some kind of sinew on its neck that completely disguises the joint. There is no visible joint there. So if the rest of the kit's like that, you can literally just glue this together, just push it together, run some liquid cement in there, and there's no filling involved at all. And it also means that you can potentially paint these two halves apart, work on the mouth, install the mouth parts, and then when you push this together, apart from maybe a tiny little bit of blending of the colours there to just sort of, you know, make it look like it all runs through one piece, that's the mouth done. So it is fantastically well made. And then the final part here is the base. So you've got these footprints in the mud of the road. There's areas here which are completely flat, which is the puddles. So you can spray these and lacquer over the top of these to make them look like water. I don't really think you'd need to use any kind of resin on those to make them look like water. There's the rail for the car travels along. I suppose potentially if they'd have made this bigger, they could have built the car as well. But as it is, it's a great kit. There's a palm leaf laying on the wall there, and that again, the moulding on that's fantastic. And it's just really well constructed. It's solid. It's completely flat. There's no warp in it or anything. And given how this goes together, it should be quite a quick build. It's all going to be in the painting really. But you could build it into the sub-assemblies. The sort of the dinosaur minus the head. So you can work on the mouth, the figure, the Ian Malcolm figure, and the base with the poles on. So I'm not anticipating this is going to take a long time to put together. So what I'm going to do, I've got a show coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to try and get this finished for that. So I'll work on this, and then I'll come back with a second video just showing anything I've picked up along the way on the build, and then maybe one of it painted at the end, and show some of the techniques that I use, which may be completely different to what a lot of other people use. I'm quite old school in the sense that I do a lot of hand painting as opposed to brushing, but it's sort of each to his own really, isn't it? So anyway, I'll start putting this together, and then I'll be back. Okay, so thanks for watching.